Well, hello, friends. I hope you're having a blessed day so far. I hope that you're trusting and believing that God is going to do great things all day. Happy Hump Day to you. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Take 5. Well, this week on Take 5, we're breaking down the message that I preached Sunday. That message was entitled, The Power of One. And we've learned some pretty good things so far. I believe we're beginning to get the picture how that more times than none, God wants to use one person to make a difference. When we gather together on Sundays, we come together to be empowered and be equipped so God can take us and scatter us out the rest of the week to our prospective areas of life, wherever it is that we work or go to school or go to the university or where we shop or the peer group that we hang around, whatever the case may be. God wants to use one to make a difference, and that's all He needs is one. If that one is willing and obedient and will trust God, I'm telling you, He can use one person to turn lives around for His kingdom. Now, we've been talking about David, but we named so many others already. I mean, think about Noah and how he changed everything for his family. Consider Nehemiah, Samson, Esther. And if you want to look on the bad side, how one can have an influence, think about Achan and how he influenced all of the nation of Israel because of his sin. And so we see it from Genesis to Revelation how God can do this. The greatest example, I guess, that you could give came from Romans chapter 5 when you look at how the one man Adam brought us all into sin, but the one man, Jesus Christ, turned everything around. Romans 5:19 said, as by one man's disobedience, many were made sinners, so by one man's obedience, all will be made righteous. One man turned this world upside down on its head into sin, but one man, Jesus Christ, turned everything around and made it possible so that we could be set free from sin. It only takes one, my friend. That's it. One person that's equipped and empowered by God can change the circumstance for everyone. Now, we talked about David and his dealings with Goliath there and how we have two armies that are facing each other, but Goliath is down in the valley of Elah and he's crying out as one man, crying out to fight one man, and he wants to make the battle singular. He wants to make the battle personal, and I believe that's where the church struggles. I don't think we have a problem when we're gathered together with our Christian friends and our church family. We don't have a problem standing against sin and against the world and against evil. We don't have a problem doing that, even giving our testimony. Where we have a problem is when we're broke down like Goliath and David and it's one-on-one. That's where we have a problem. And I really think that Satan has used this to deceive so many people into believing that we just can't make a difference on our own. I pray that God helps us to never forget the influence and the power of just one. God always uses great numbers of people. He always has and He always will. But most of the time, it always begins with the willingness, the obedience, and the faithfulness of just one. Satan has caused so many to think that they're insignificant and that one really can't make a difference and that we're not prepared when we're just one. And he's got three pretty big platforms that he uses against the people of God. The first one, you have a few people that think it's the church's job to combat darkness and win the lost. You know, the conglomerate group of the church. They don't think that one person should do anything outside of the church. Everything that the church does should be done at the church, by the church on Sunday, some of them think, and that's just not the case. Sunday's when we come together to grow and learn so that God can take us and scatter us and then use us as individuals. That's a traditional thought that some people have, and it's just absolutely wrong. The second platform that Satan uses is you have a few people that think that they've got to have a title and a pulpit before they can affect change. You don't have to have that. God doesn't intend for that. God intends for our pulpit or our platform to be wherever we are in life. Whatever He's done for us and done with us, wherever we work, go to school, or whoever we're around, that's our platform. And that's when God intends for one person to take a stand and make a change. And then you have a certain group of people that think small of themselves. They have low esteem. They think they don't have anything to offer. They have the idea, what can one person really do? And that comes from a mindset of ignorance and fear. And that's the same mindset that Saul had. Remember, verse 11 of 1 Samuel 17 said, Saul and all of Israel were afraid and greatly dismayed. And you've got a lot of people that are that way, that they think, what can one person do? We see that during election time. A lot of people won't even go vote because they think, what good is one vote? Well, hey, all it takes is about 50 or 60,000 people to think that way, and then that changes things drastically. It starts with one. It starts with you, my friend, and we've got to be willing to understand, accept, and step up and let God use us as the one person to make a change in our part of the world. There are really four things that are necessary in order for us to be able to be the one that God can use. I'm just going to name one of them today, and we'll talk about the other three Thursday and Friday. Perspective is so important. Perspective means that you recognize there is a problem, but not only is there a problem, you recognize that there is a solution as well. Now, you may not know exactly the details of what the solution is, but you know there's a solution because you trust God and you believe His Word. Listen to this event with David and Goliath. Listen as David is inquiring about this Philistine. David rose early in the morning and left the sheep with the keeper and took the provisions and went as Jesse has commanded him. And Israel and the Philistines drew up for the battle, army against army. And David left the things in the charge of the keeper of the baggage and ran to the ranks and went and greeted his brothers. And as he talked with him, behold, the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, came up out of the ranks of the Philistines and spoke the same words as before, and David heard him. All of the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were afraid. And the men of Israel said, have you seen this man who has come up? Surely he has come up to defy the armies of Israel, and the king will enrich the man who kills him with great riches, and will give him his daughter and make his house free in Israel. And David said to the men that stood by him, what shall be done for the man that kills this Philistine and takes away the approach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? In that verse, David recognized there was a problem. Goliath had defied the armies of God. That's the problem. But he also recognized there was a solution. Who's going to kill him is what he said next. David recognized the problem, he recognized the solution, and his entire confidence was in God right there. Friend, if you're going to be the one that's going to make change where you are in your part of the world, you're going to have the right perspective. You're going to have to realize, hey, there's a problem. There's a devil on the loose. There's evil all around. But there's also a solution. Our God is able to take this that's wrong and make it right, because where sin abound, grace did much more abound. You've got to have the right perspective. Well, hey, I've got to get out of here. My time's coming and gone. I look forward to being with you tomorrow on Thursday's edition of Take 5. Until then, God bless you. Have a great day. Hold the right perspective, friend. God is able to take just one and make a difference in the world.